What is going on, folks? I am Goat, and welcome back to Warframe Special about DevStream, whatever the fuck this was, 163. Man, oh man. So I guarantee, without question, there is a massive chunk of the community that is pissed, and then there is a massive chunk of the community that is screaming hallelujah and thank you, Jesus, for what's about to happen. So we're going to talk about kind of in my own little list, so you're going to see me kind of looking up and going over my usual stuff here, okay? So first and foremost, we're going to talk about Stynex. This is Stynex. As you can see, this is from Play Warframe, YouTube's Play Warframe of the review. You can see Reb here talking about it. This is Stynex. Very cool looking Warframe. I will admit, very, very fucking cool looking Warframe. Without question, digging that one. Just by appearance alone. More importantly, though, just from what they said on stream, not what they have listed on their page, but what they said on stream and what it showed on stream. Now, what they say on their webpage is a little bit different. I'm hoping that what the webpage actually says is accurate, because if it is, my God, he has the potential to be very sustainable, very self-sustainable, plus a squad supporter, which is really good. So the first ability, basically like ethereal spears, okay? You throw it at a fucking enemy, it pierces the enemy. If you tag them on a wall or the floor, you basically create like a crowd control vortex that sucks enemies in for a period of time. I'm assuming it's duration based. Pretty cool. Does base damage, plus it has a range and it has a timer to it, so we already have a general idea of build. Second ability, shield slam for a partial armor strip, shield damage and or health damage. And it should be armor strip and or shield damage and health damage, plus it staggers enemies. Overall, armor strip is being buffed for more consistency with most frames with the armor strip ability, so that's a good thing in itself. Because of what they're doing with this frame, it's actually bonusing to other frames. I'm okay with that. Third ability, buffs allies' energy, and kill assists buff your own shields. I'm assuming it buffs the ally shields as well to build pretty substantial overshields, so that's pretty damn solid. And the fourth ability summons basically kind of like Ash's Seeking Shuriken. It's not finishers, but it's like a bunch of like gassed ghost type fucking Stynex spears that just pop out of the fucking ground and just start whipping the shit out of everything. It has general CC, squad support, the whole shebang, and it's basically, it just summons a bunch of spears to attack multiple enemies within its range. So overall, my basic view of what the dev stream shows, again, what the dev stream shows is that overall the basic gameplay shows that it looks like it's going to be a really solid CC frame, which again, against the Eximus, it's not so good, but everything else for trash units, that'll be just fine. Good squad support and a good self-sustainable frame. Now, I do want to note that on the webpage, it also says that you can get a health buff from the shield. If that's the case, that you can build health with his 2 and you can build shields with your 3, oh my sweet baby Jesus. So yeah. A note, big fucking note. When Stynex releases with Veilbreaker, for the first 14 days from the date of release, Stynex will be given away for free as a 50th Warframe anniversary gift. So do not miss logging into the game in that 14-day time frame to get the Warframe for free. Otherwise, it will be put in drop tables and you have to go farm the motherfucker. So it is what it is. His weapon looks to be, it's going to be something like the Scourge or something like the Fellarks, you know, spear rifle type weapon. From what I can tell, and then obviously it looks like he has a spear type melee, so it is what it is. On to the next stuff. Quality of life updates. Here is where shit gets sketchy as fuck. There's good and there's bad, okay? Now, why we still can't do this with focus schools is fucking beyond me, but syndicate pledges. Instead of applying different syndicate sigils for different percentage gains, now the sigil is just cosmetic. You can simply just go to the fucking bench, represent the fucking, represent the two, the 1 or 2 syndicates that you're working with, and that's that. And as you gain ranks, you gain percentage bonus gain to that rep. Why can't we do this instead of focus lenses, right? What do I know? What the fuck do I know, right? As I said, Excalibur, Mag, and Volt are all three getting a buff. Volt is getting the most minimalistic buff, but I did fucking say that Volt was going to be getting a buff because he was one of the starter frames. A couple of people questioned me on that one. This isn't I told you so or anything, but I just had a feeling Volt was going to be in there because they specifically said they were going to be focusing on the starter frames and making them a little bit more user-friendly. If you want to see more, go to Play Warframe on YouTube. You can see all the different shit that they're doing. Mag is getting the biggest buff as far as I can tell, but it is what it is. Couple of things to note: Drifter Camp transport, the little teleport when you go up the when you go to the little ramp, and then you have to, or you go to the little teleport pad that puts you up at navigation. That long ass delay from getting one spot to another is actually going to be implemented and buffed up quite well. So quite quicker, anyway, I should say. So there's that. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. Less delay. We all like things to just go seamless and fast. Changing stats from gilded stuff to mastering stuff, okay? So pre-gilded modular weapons like amps, Zaws, Moas, hounds, even if you build your own hound from different hound components, because that is a thing you can do. I did that with a few hounds just to test a few theories. So prior to gilding anything, you couldn't change anything. Like the stats were the stats and they just were what they were. Now you can actually get stat increase buffs without gilding an item. You cannot change the cosmetics and you still will not master the item. But if you're wanting to full-fledged use the unit for a while because you're short on cred or you're short on rep or whatever the case may be, you can still get your statistical buffs out of said item now without gilding the item. That's really all it is. So, not a bad idea. Riven mod changes. This one's interesting and I like it and I hate it, okay? I'm not a big fan of the Riven system anyway because it's basically a popularity contest as far as what's used and what isn't. Well, this is popular, this isn't. Popular gets nerfed, unpopular gets buffed. I tend to lean towards, you know, semi-popular to unpopular weapons. I do use a few populars and we will go over that coming up with the AoE stuff. So all Riven mods that you get are now going to be completely veiled. They're not going to be Rifle Riven or Zaw Riven or anything of the sort. They're not going to tell you that until you find the specific weapon that they go to. The moment you apply the fucking Riven, this blank Riven mod to said weapon, it will unveil what type of weapon it's for. So while the Riven mod is veiled completely, it does not count towards your Riven capacity, towards your Riven mod capacity. So you're not going to be stuck not being able to do sorties or selling off, you know, Riven mods that you could potentially, you know, sell for plat later on the market and so on and so forth. So this is actually a pretty good thing. It gives you to the fact where you can collect a metric fuck ton of Rivens without having to do a, you know, a whole bunch of selling and transmuting and a whole bunch of crap that you don't want to have to do because you're, you know, like you're a Riven mod seller or auctioneer or so on. So this is a good buff for the Riven system as far as the mods themselves. It's still no change to how Riven disposition works, and I think that's the biggest flaw in the Riven system is the disposition in itself. I think if a mod is specifically designed for a weapon and you spend time farming Kuva, you spend time farming Steel Essence to buy Kuva, or if you're insane enough to, you know, spend Riven Slivers or spend Nora Nightwave cred on Kuva, any way that you look at it, you're spending time getting Kuva to roll these things. I hate the fact that weapons are based on popularity, based on their overall, the community uses it this much, so the disposition must be lower, which means it's a better weapon, which means the mod itself will receive an automatic nerf the lower the disposition. If it's considered, you know, like if you look at the disposition, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots. The 1 dot means it's very popular. The 5 dots means it's exceptionally unpopular. If you get a weapon that you really like that has that 5 dot Riven disposition, you are going to get the maximum output that that fucking Riven mod can possibly give you. Probably more than what the mod actually shows, which is cool. For something that has a 1, it nerfs the shit out of it. So you got to get like god rolls on like Riven 1 dispositions, which are technically a Riven 0.5. That's its graded scale. It goes from 0.5 to 1.5 is what the actual scale is, but it is what it is. So the Riven system, I like the way that they're handling the mods as far as not taking up storage capacity, because storage capacity is limited in comparison to how many weapons there are in the game. So, kind of painful. But I still wish that they would work focus lenses, and I still wish that they would work the disposition system in itself. If you go through all the work of getting the fucking Riven to begin with, I don't think you should be punished just because other people tend to use the weapon a lot. It's just my personal opinion. It's like a popularity contest. You shouldn't get the most votes just because you make people happy because you brown nose their assholes half to death. I don't think that that's how life should be, but c'est la vie. Here comes a whole mess of shit that's probably going to piss people off. And I'm actually just going to move my recording program, so if you don't see me looking at the camera, it is what it is. It's now this way for me. it's technically that way, but it's this way. So if you see me looking over, that's why. Here comes an absolute magic fuck ton of shit that they are about to fuck with. And they have been talking about this since pre-Angels of Zeraman. AoE weapons. Okay, now me personally, I am a big fucking fan of using colors that do not inhibit, you know, another person's gameplay. I really do. Like, let's say the Kuva Brahma, just for example. Okay, a lot of people like big flashy colors, right? Big flashy boom booms, right? Now my color is a fiery color. Now this is what I use on my solo colors. You'll notice, though, stagger myself. That's not overly blinding, okay? Because the explosion is just going to have what it has, okay? But that's not overly blinding. Another weapon that is highly unpopular is the Bubonico as far as its color output, okay? Now that's black. No matter what you do, the Bubonico can be pretty fucking crazy. Yeah, it can be pretty crazy. The Kuva Ogress is another big complainer. The Kuva Czar is another big complainer. Things like that. Big AoE. Now that's the big main meta of the game, right? That's the big main meta. AoE. I will simply say this. This was a big community complaint, okay? For one, a lot of people do bright, ungodly, like bright neon greens and oranges and yellows and just ungodly fucking colors. Bright whites and shit and, you know, like a cyan blue and just fucking insane colors. I don't do that because it disrupts my own gameplay, and it does disrupt other people's gameplay. A lot of people don't have that common courtesy, sadly. The other part of the community complaint was that people that are like, you know, mastery, let's say 26 and above, are coming through with weapons like these and basically wiping a map before they can do a goddamn thing with it. So ever since basically Garuda Prime released, and there was a lot of talk about nerfing AoE, I started working with single target weapons a lot more because I just kind of saw the writing on the wall. Now, that being said, it is a little understandable with the people that complain, but also at the same time, this comes down to build your shit better and you won't have this problem. And this is not meant to be degrading or demeaning in any way. It's really not. But that's the whole point of the game. If you're not doing the damage that you want to see done, then maybe it's time you build better, right? I mean, that's the whole name of the game. And the modding system is to figure out how to do better builds, even if it's on your own. Don't use Overframe, for fuck's sake. But it's how to figure out how to do better builds. Now, with all that being said, what they're doing is that they are nerfing AoE to the point because it's basically just what they call automated play, or basically cheesing the shit out of missions. And they're saying that it's being done highly too much and it's being highly disruptive to others' gameplay. Hence the reason for the nerf. So the nerf in itself is going to follow in a few different ways. Excuse me. So ammo drops and mutation mods are about to get a massive change. So primary ammo mutation, sniper rifle or sniper ammo mutation, shotgun ammo mutation are all going to be combined into one primary ammo mutation. And arrow mutation, sorry. Secondaries are all just going to be secondary ammo mutation. Which, pretty much what they are now anyway, pistol ammo. Ammo drops will now be only primary and secondary. No separation from different primaries. The positive is that the ammo is dropping at higher amounts to how much we usually get, but the problem is that the drops will be less frequent as a whole. So in regards to AoE weapons that have a low ammo capacity, you're going to have a massive problem, at least the way they're talking right now, as far as keeping ammo in your weapon, which is part 1 of the nerf. Okay? Basically, you get to pick up more ammo when it drops. That's the key. So this puts in a massive sea change. It puts in a potential massive sea change towards the present meta of the game. Now, I will tell you right now, meta, right? Yes, I have the Kuva Brahma here. Sure. Trumna, single target weapon with a radial alt fire. Fenmore, single target weapon. Bubonico, alt fire is more of an AoE, but the primary fire is single target. Phantasma, single target with a alt fire minimalistic radial damage. Tenet Archiplasmor is multi-target but not AoE. Exceltra, single target and AoE. Kuvazar, definitely AoE. Sobek, single target with an AoE mod. Kuva Ogress, definitely AoE. Probosa Cernos, single target with an AoE function. Phantasma again. Rubico, Fenmore, Tenet Archiplasmor, Tenet Flux Rifle, Amprex, Phantasma again, Cedo. You'll notice I've had some massive sea change to what I'm doing here. What I'm doing is actually very fucking simple, okay? As far as single target weapons, I've put a lot of focus into changing the way that this works, okay? Just changing the way that this works up just a bit. And that is definitely not the build I was shooting for. Is this an absolute metric fuckton of status into something like the Tenet Flux Rifle? Okay, so like we've already seen what my Trumna can do. I've used my Trumna in videos. That is not the frame I was going to put that on, just because I'm not trying to die at the moment. So let's take off this big OP killer fucking, you know, killer melee or killer AoE meta weapon, right? All right, let's just take that off, because why not? Make sure it's on the status build. Okay. That is not what I was trying to do. Is this disruptive to other players? No. Does this work? Yeah, but now you gotta stand here and kill motherfuckers. Bitch, would you die? Again, are we going to be constantly coming up against the same fucking enemy? Like this? No. Oh, of course, here we go with the invincible enemy. Hi, bitch, how you doing? Give me something I can kill yet. Thank you. So, I just went through almost 1,000 rounds on 20 enemies. Okay, so like I was saying, you want to see what the present meta does? I mean, sure I do. You know, all right. So, here we go. Shoot me, please. whole lot quicker, isn't it? Now, can it be disruptive to gameplay? Abso-fucking-lutely it can. Without question. Absolutely can. And their servers are acting wonky at the moment. Holy shit balls, man. But, I mean, so can something like the Trumna. That is not what I was trying to do. These are all staggered. Like, that's not disruptive. And that's a dark green color. Oh, girl. Tell me that's not disruptive as hell. Yeah, again, dark color. Oh, there's somebody left. Bitch, would you die? Yeah, that all-fire encompasses a massive fucking area. So, when we're talking about disruption of gameplay, technically that all-fire isn't considered AoE, because it's not the primary function of the weapon, it's just an alternate function. Right? Part of the build, though. Man, this shit's lagging. Like, you got this, you know, I've got a rivet on there. Don't see anything about prime, what is it? It's Fulmination or Firestorm, Prime Firestorm. So they're about to nerf that too, from 66 to 44. We'll get into that. So yeah, so there's going to be an ammo drop change. What they're doing is they're buffing holster speed, though. Okay, so they're absolutely buffing the holster speed to something a little bit more forgiving, to where you can swap from your primary to your melee quicker if you start to get low on ammo. So that's a good thing, because they're fucking us up. Now, the other thing they're doing, and I do kind of get this because it's kind of stupid, but they are basically, any AoE radial attacks will no longer be allowed to do any headshots whatsoever. Also, Prime Firestorm, Prime Fulmination are both being nerfed from 66% radial area of effect to now 44%, which is kind of bullshit, in my opinion. If you're going to give us the Prime mod, they're saying that they're going to reimburse us if we don't like the change, which I really want to see how they're going to pull that one off. But again, this just truly damages and nerfs the bejesus out of the AoE even more. Big problem. Now, self-staggering is also going to be reintroduced and potentially overwrite sure-footed and prime sure-footed to a point to where staggering can be, you know, a bit more of a thing. So you're not just purely prime sure-footed and everything is fine. They're talking about potentially, you know, making that not quite be 100% immune, so you can still potentially be staggered by enemies' radial attacks or your own. It's a bit of a problem. It's going to annoy some people that waited so long to get Prime Sure-Footed just to get it to have it nerfed. And we'll go back to Steel Path. Well, we'll just talk about it now. Steel Path Void Fissures. I do like the fact that they're adding Void Fissures. That way you can kind of segregate Legendary 1s and Legendary 2s away from, like, Mastery 4s. Like, if you're doing liths and, you know, and you're doing basos, and you're going in there just blasting the shit out of the map because you got really good builds and really good frames, and you're just flying through the fucking missions, it's not really fair to the lower level players. So having Steel Path Void Fissure missions instead of just base Star Chart does make sense if you're willing to deal with the more complicated nature of really having to go in more OP. So it is what it is. I like it. I actually like it. I think it's a good thing. Now, one thing that's going to piss people off. And truthfully, I don't really find it to be much of a problem because I saw the writing on the wall with this. I used to use the Cedo or the Corinth Prime for Wukong. But when I started hearing word about there being a potential nerf, I went to something like the Bubonico, which is a battery-charged weapon. The Cycron, battery-charged weapon. And then the Glaive is what I usually use. So when I'm using the Twin, he doesn't use ammo, ever. He uses whatever the charge is. So Wukong, hands down, the highest used frame over the last 2 years of usage. And it comes down to being very automated with the Twin. It's very true. It's very fucking true. He's a very automated frame. He just sits there and kills everything. And you just chuck a glaive occasionally or use your melee to get drops and shit. That's about it. The Twin will now use your own ammo. So if you're using a weapon that actually uses ammo, he's going to use that up from your own capacity. And they're also cutting the damage by half. Unless you've marked the enemy, then it'll be the normal ×2 or whatever the fucking multiplier is for the Twin. I forget now. Yeah, ×2. So they're basically going to be a ×1, which is basically going to be whatever your build does is what Wukong is what the weapon's going to do. He's not going to get a damage buff. I'm okay with that. I really am. Now, there was talk about them nerfing his second ability, which really did kind of piss me off because that's like his ultimate spy function. And thank God for Pablo, he said they are not fucking with his second ability because that would just take the fun away from Wukong. I like that. So you can still pick up ammo and feed the Twin your ammo. But again, with the ammo drop being limited to, you know, how often it drops, not capacity, it's a bit of a problem. The Twin will also now be staggered if you don't have something like Prime Sure-Footed or Sure-Footed on there. They are buffing his 4, but his 4 is junk, so that's really kind of a useless buff. Just saying. Last Gasp. Last Gasp, this is an interesting one. So Last Gasp is... let's see here. Where's Last Gasp? Right there. Revive your Warframe by transferring into your operator and killing enemies before the revive meter drains in 15 seconds. Each kill fills the revive meter by 30%. Now, originally it started at 50%. Now it's going to start at 0, but there will be a delay in your energy drain, which is good. And also, Eximus will give you a full restore. So basically, if you get downed and you have Last Gasp unbound and on your present school, you're going to be made in the shade because it's going to be, you know, even though it's going to start at 0, there's going to be a delay in using energy, so you're going to get a little bit more time to do it. As far as not using up energy and then standing there and dying anyway. But if you get lucky enough to catch an Eximus, especially on, you know, like mid-level content, you kill the Eximus, you're fucking revived. Have a nice day. The L through R Warframe augment buffs are coming. So Rhino, they said Rhino was the last one. So that's that. So sorry about the chops and cuts here. I've got storms coming through the area and I keep losing internet signal, so my server connection keeps cutting off. So into Veil Breakers, right? Into Veil Breakers we go. So obviously, as we saw from the previous dev stream, and I'm sorry, my damn camera always gets fucked up. From what we saw from the previous dev stream, Call 175, our Call of Duty Warframe player, is coming back, baby, coming back, customizable. And Veil Breakers is a very interesting concept. It's going to be like a weekly event kind of thing. So basically, Call's going to move into your Drifter camp and explain to you Grineer missions against Narmer. There's also going to at least be one other character that's going to be moving in as well. And you're going to get weekly missions in order to upgrade Call. You're going to be able to play as Call from the looks of things. So on and so forth. So Veilbreaker, they're saying it's going to be a pretty short quest, which is fine. I mean, I wasn't exactly expecting something super long because it seems like more of an introduction into something else. So I'm fine with it being a shorter quest. Like, if they would have said that about Call of Tempestari, I probably wouldn't have been near as irritated, but Call of Tempestari just irritated the fuck out of me because it was just like, oh, this is going to be a great release. Ugga dugga. 24 fucking minutes later, we're done. So, anyway. But with Veilbreakers also comes Archon Hunts. Now, Archon Hunts, I'm just going to tell you right now, they have the look of basically being a mix of an arbitration, and a sortie, right? It's going to be like a weekly mission or daily mission even, or weekly event that involves hunting Archons, but you have to do multiple missions in order to get to the Archon. So, like I said, it basically appears like somewhat like a stance of an arbitration, but you also, you know, in the regards of getting weapon and frame buffs, but you're also going to have negatives involved too, which more fits towards the sortie side of things. Also, the fact that it's a weekly event with the negatives also fits more to a sortie. So it's kind of like a mix of both. It's like putting an arbitration and a sortie together, but then putting a boss fight at the end of every single one with a very specific ordeal. And what you get from this is whatever drops you get in the missions, first of all. But second of all, you're going to get Archon shards. Archon shards are basically buffed crystal shards that you saw during the new war that you pull out of the neck of the Archon that keeps them alive. And those Archon shards can be applied to basically, I am assuming at this point, permanently give a bonus invigoration to your Warframe, or at least some kind of a decent time frame duration, considering there's 5 different fucking locations you can put these shards. So I'm very, very interested in the Archon hunts. Now, they did specifically say that these missions are designed to be tough. Okay? These fucking things are definitely designed to be tough. And that, like, you're also going to have restrictions on reviving. So running in squads is probably going to be preferable if you don't have, like, good tank builds. And I think that also just kind of comes down to whatever the negatives of each event mission are. So, I mean, there's a lot of shit going into play with these Archon hunts. So they look very, very interesting just from the descriptions. Zaku Deluxe and Protea Caladrius, I'm assuming Caladrius skins, both Zarkon, wow. Zaku Deluxe is definitely coming. That's also going to come with the Lotus Deluxe skin, and then you're also going to have the Protea Caladrius skin. That one looks really fucking good. So for you fashion framers out there, cool stuff. And then the big drop of information: cross-play, cross-save. Good and bad. Okay, so a lot of people have been looking forward to raids and trial type missions. So we're talking like, you know, actual raid style missions, you know, raiding dojos and raiding other clans and things like that. And then also trial type missions to events more like Scarlet Spear, and, you know, where you've got like multiple squads working together to, you know, to complete tasks and things. And as of right now, that they said they're not speaking on them until next year, but just because they've got so much crap going on this year. End of speech. So anybody looking forward to raids dropping around Deveri Paradox or Veilbreaker, you done got your hopes up for nothing. So crossplay. They said, without question, crossplay will be announced soon, and it is getting close. Because, like, they've basically just got to get through all the platform tests and then the metadata tests and everything else, just to make sure that there's no profile information overlays or anything like that. Because honestly, I don't know about you, but I don't want my fucking profile to disappear to somebody on PlayStation 3 or Xbox. No offense to anybody else that may have my game name, but it is what it is. I've worked my butt off on this account and I don't want to lose it. So, such is life. Cross-save. Cross-save will be coming well after crossplay has fully been embedded into the entire network as being functional without problem. And knowing the standard release bugs and issues that pop up with Digital Extreme's releases, I'm going to guess that we're probably actually not going to see cross-save until, I would say, early next year. So anybody who's got a PlayStation account and is just wanting to start a new, you know, put their account over to a PC and upgrade or anything like that, or even vice versa, somebody whose PC died and they just got a PlayStation instead, you're not going to be able to move that shit yet until everything is set in stone and good to go. And then they did bring in as kind of as a footnote, Prime Resurgence will be returning as far as they're saying right now, but they did not give any date at this time. They said that their teams are working on it. So me personally, I'm assuming they're probably just going to release it at the beginning of the year, just like they did this year. Because I mean, that had to have been a good moneymaker for Digital Extremes. Man, my cat is literally just flashing its ass right in the screen. That's amazing. So I mean, in the grand scheme of things, there's some cool shit going on here, like Styanax, the free giveaway for Styanax, the abilities of Styanax from a basic function gameplay look great. The Syndicate change is awesome. The starter frame buff is awesome. Drifter camp fixes are great. Veilbreaker looks pretty cool, even though it's basic. The ribbon changes are awesome. the changing the stats versus mastery from gilding, that's a good thing if you're not really, if you're short on the shit you need to do it. Just like any cat, man, just gotta lay on your laptop, right? The big two problem ordeal here, truthfully, is gonna come down to the AoE nerf slash ammo change to help assist that nerf, and then the Wukong nerf. Now, the Wukong nerf, I'm not near as upset with, because Wukong in itself is a very sustainable frame. Even if the twin gets killed, you just revive the motherfucker. The weapons are based off of your build, so even if you don't have the damage multiplier from the builds, he's still gonna kill shit as long as your shit is built well. This goddamn cat is really gonna drive me insane. Leave me alone, you little son of a bitch. For fuck's sake, you little bastard. So, anyway. So, the AoE nerf, I understand it, okay? I really do. I don't agree with it per se, because if you're going to put it in the fucking game, there's a difference between absolutely decimating the playstyle, which is what this is looking like it's going to do. It's not going to stop it, okay? Like, people are always going to find workarounds. They're always going to find ways to kind of, you know, buff their situation. But this is definitely a way to nerf the shit out of this playstyle. And I do understand it, because it does cheese the shit out of the game, and that's not the goal of the game. The goal is to play and to challenge yourself, not just stand in a fucking hallway and blow shit up and, you know, blind everybody with your fucking weapons and so on. So, you know, I get it. I do appreciate the fact that even with the nerf, at least they're changing the holster speed and the holster change itself. So if you've got to switch to your secondary, it's going to be a very quick transition. So just have a really good secondary build and you'll be just fine. The AoE, the headshot AoE nerf, I'm fine with that. I don't, it's not a realistic thing for somebody to take a headshot from a radial attack. So, I mean, I get it. I'm fine with that. I like the fact of the Steel Path Void Fissures. I really do. Because if you're running like some super OP shit, running with a bunch of Mastery 4 to, you know, or Mastery 2 all the way up to like Mastery 10 guys, you're gonna fucking wipe a map and they don't learn anything. And that's the whole point, is like, you know, when you're doing missions like that, a lot of these people are, excuse me, I'm spitting on myself. A lot of the people coming in are trying to learn the game. And then you've got guys that are, you know, Mastery 20, 25, Mastery 30, Legendary 1, Legendary 2, they just fucking speed run through missions and just blow everything up. And it's just, from the perspective of a new player, it's annoying, right? It's really fucking annoying, because it's just like, well, shit, what did they just do? I didn't even get to see it. Why is the mission over already? You know, I get it. I get the frustration. I truly do. So, it is what it is. The self-staggering, I think, is kind of horseshit. I really do. Like with Cautious Shot, I understand self-staggering from that point. But with like Sure-Footed and Prime Sure-Footed, and the fact that they specifically brought that up as being a potential that they're looking at possibly reducing, that's bullshit, okay? Considering you have to wait till at least a 400 login just to get Prime Sure-Footed to begin with, and the fact of what that mod has done since it's been released, and then all of a sudden now you're talking about nerfing it due to AoE? No. There's people who waited a long goddamn time to get that fucking mod. You know, 400 logins for some people is a lot of fucking logins. I mean, hell, I just unlocked the Steel Path with my fucking baby account. You're not gonna see that for a minute on video, but I just unlocked the Steel Path with my baby account on 32 logins. Okay? On like, yeah, 32 logins and 80 hours of mission play. Like, actually, I have the image. Hold on. I took a picture just so I had a date. Like, check that out. Look at that. 3 days, 8 hours, 16 minutes, 41 seconds. 80 hours of gameplay unlocked. Yeah, that's 32 logins. He touched the butt. That's a thing, isn't it? It's crazy talk, man. I wanted to see how you could do it with normal shit. Okay? I really did. So, I don't know. But there's where we're at with the most recent dev streams. I'm sorry about the delay. I kind of jacked my arm up. Near fell down, and I kind of jacked myself up doing it. So, a little delayed getting this out, and I had to go back and rewatch it. So, but anyway, give me your thoughts down below if you think I'm right, wrong, if I'm stupid, if you agree. I always appreciate return correspondence and comments. Because I'm really curious about your thoughts in this, okay? Because it's not just me. I'm just some random ass guy fucking playing the game, right? I want to hear your thoughts. I will say this, the little quib about Limbo that they put in there, oh, rest in peace, Limbo, that's some bullshit, man. Come on. Like, I get fucking with his abilities, but legit, just completely nerfing the fuck out of his passive. Come on, man. You're just gonna throw a little quib out there like, Limbo's just not a thing anymore. Let's just erase him. Dude. So, so anyway, folks, thanks very much for watching. As always, we will catch you in the next one, all right?